happy you're here. Many of you already know me from my work as an intuitive coach, but for those of you who are new here, my name is Jackie Beam, and I am the founder of High Watt Living, where my team and I help people to upgrade their energy and use spiritual tools and techniques to align with their highest and best reality. For over a decade, I've conducted thousands of private and group energy healing sessions to help people release their old programming and energy blocks and match their energy to the life they want to have. I have also authored several online courses for growth-oriented people and spiritual entrepreneurs who want to learn how to work with the universe instead of against it. And I've trained talented and powerful intuitive coaches through my Intuition Mastery and Coach Training program. In this video series, we're going to be talking about all things intuition, what it is, how it works, why it's weak in some people and strong in others, and what you can do to enhance your intuition. You'll learn how it gets blocked throughout the course of your lifetime and how you can clear those blocks now. In these videos, I'll be addressing some frequently asked questions I get. I'll also be posting interviews with some amazing people who will be sharing their unique tools and daily practices for opening up intuitive channels. I'll be talking to a few intuitive coaches that I have trained, and they'll be telling you about how they've incorporated their intuitive superpowers into their current careers, even if they're not actually working as intuitive coaches. And I'll also show you a video of an energy healing session that I conducted with a client and friend of mine to clear her intuitive blocks so that you can see how an intuitive energy healing session works. And you can clear your blocks right along with us as you watch that. So it's going to be a really fun week here. And my intention is that you'll learn everything you need to know about getting as intuitive as possible. And the reason why I'm excited to share all of this information with you is because in my experience, the more intuitive you get, the easier it is to get where you want to be in life. Because when you're intuitive, you can see exactly what you need to do, where you need to go, who you need to become, and what moves you need to make in order to get there. Okay, so what am I talking about? What is intuition? The dictionary defines intuition as the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. So you just know something without having been told. You psychically see something without physically seeing it. You can feel the truth of something without actually having knowledge of the truth of that thing. I'm sure you've had intuitive experiences in your lifetime. Maybe you knew something was about to happen, or you had a random vision of something and then it showed up in real life. Maybe you knew somebody was up to something, even though you didn't have evidence, and then you ended up being spot on. Or you had a gut feeling or intuitive nudge to do something, even if you didn't know why, and that something propelled you in the direction you wanted to go, or maybe it helped you to avoid a major accident. So the dictionary tells us that intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning or evidence. And I like to take that definition a bit further by specifying that intuition is when you are sensitive to frequency. You have the ability to read, feel, see, or sense energy. The reason why you would know something without conscious reasoning is because you can see, feel, know, or sense the energy of it. You can intuitively understand what's about to happen because you can feel the energy of it coming. You can intuitively know what's going to happen with a person because you can feel and read their energy. You intuitively know what to say to get the response or result you want because you can read the energy of a room. So a person with strong intuition understands things immediately without the need for reasoning or strong evidence because they can read, feel, and tap into the energy of those things. A person with crystal clear intuition is going to experience life much differently than a person whose intuition is weak or blocked. So just think about it. When your intuition is strong, you generally always know what's going to work. You know what's not going to work. You feel strongly guided to make certain moves, to go to certain places, to connect with certain people. And you're so clear in this guidance that you feel confident in following it up with the right actions, even when there's no guarantee or any physical evidence that it's going to pay off. You know where you're going, it's crystal clear to you, and your confidence doesn't get derailed when there are bumps in the road because you clearly see where you're being led. When you have crystal clear intuition, opportunities are everywhere because you can see them everywhere. You spot them easily. For example, let's say you want to make $1 million. A person without intuition is going to see 4, maybe 5 possibilities for that to happen. Maybe they think they can win a lottery or jackpot or get an inheritance, choose a specific career path, work really hard in that or invest well. But in reality, if you look at human history, there have been a million different ways that individuals have made $1 million. And there's a way that is most aligned for you to make $1 million, no matter what your situation is now. There's a way for you to make $1 million in a manner that is most suited to your gifts, talents, and desires, and the unique energy and vibration you bring. The problem for most people is they simply don't see how they can do it. They don't intuitively see the path or the opportunities that are uniquely available for them. Learning how to activate your intuition opens up your ability to spot and see these paths and opportunities. And these opportunities are far bigger and better than anything you previously thought was possible for yourself. I have famously said, back when I was in law school and I was making financial goals for myself, I didn't even know what an energy healer was. I didn't even know that energy healing existed. So I couldn't have known to follow that path professionally. I couldn't have seen that that would be how I would go on to make my first million until I started activating my intuition and clearing my own blocks and seeing that particular path for myself. When you have crystal clear intuition, it feels like your highest self, your richest self, your most in love self is living inside of you and guiding you. And you can tell the difference between this highest part of you that guides you versus your ego and your programming and your conditioning, which chimes in with its junk, its doubts, its fears, and objections. From this crystal clear and peaceful state of being and awareness, you're always guided to the right ideas, the right support, the resources, information, and people who can help you put the wheels in motion to get where you're going in every single area of your life. Because think about it, your future self, the version of you that already did it, that already made the money, that already pulled in great love, that already has what you're currently wanting, that version of you already knows what you did to get there. So when you have clear intuition, you can see what your future self already knows, and you can be guided by that. That knowledge comes into your awareness and you experience it as your own thoughts, your own feelings, and that intuitive guidance starts to just feel like your own good ideas. When your intuition is this clear, the trust and vision you have is playing on a louder volume than any fears and doubts that may come up. And because you're so clear, you also don't try to force things. You're able to tell when it's time to let something go and move on quickly when you can see that something isn't aligned for you. And because of this, you're always moving forward. You don't have to learn lessons the hard way. You wake up every day with so much trust in your vision, and you know that your life is going in the direction you actually want it to be going. And the best part about having crystal clear intuition is if you are seeing or sensing a life ahead of you that is not aligned with what you want, you have the ability to intuitively look into your own field of energy and see what's making you a vibrational match for that future you don't want or that stickiness you're feeling. And you can start clearing that energy and projecting a new timeline in front of you. And I'll talk about that some more in video number 2. If you look around at the people you know or the people you see on TV or in the media and everywhere, you'll notice that some people seem to be operating with smooth, easy access to crystal clear intuition, and some people are not. And the truth is, most humans are going through life with their intuition fully or partially blocked. So how do you know if your intuition is blocked? There's a few ways to tell. When your intuition is blocked, your life will be filled with a lot of trial and error, where you're trying things and hoping they work, but usually the outcome is always the same. And I'm not necessarily saying this is bad. It's great to have life experiences and learn lessons from them. But there is a reality available where you already intuitively know the highest truth in a moment. And you don't have to learn things through trial and error or through hardship or through failure. When you live with strong intuition, you don't have to rely on wishing and hoping. You feel certainty about whether something will work or not, whether a romantic relationship or romantic interest will be a solid aligned partner for you in the long term or not, whether an investment will pay off or not, whether one route will be more successful than another route. When your intuition is blocked, you can't see any opportunities, and you might find yourself experiencing long periods of not knowing what to do, constantly questioning what's next for you and putting a lot of pressure on yourself trying to figure it out or make a decision. And it can feel like you have to talk yourself into the decisions that you are making instead of feeling 100% aligned with them. One of the worst things about having blocked intuition is that you feel like you have to rely on other people's expertise. And usually their expertise or their processes don't even work for you, which leaves you feeling more doubt about yourself and what's possible for you. The mind chatter starts to get so loud that over time, the doubt and the reasons why you can't start to get louder than all of the belief you have in yourself and louder than everything you can intuitively see is possible. So there's a pretty large contrast between living life with full access to your intuition and living life with blocked intuition. And both realities are available. I have personally lived in both experiences. When I was young, up until I went to law school, a lot of people around me used to describe my life as charmed. I heard that a lot, right? I was a smart kid in school, but I was really just intuitive. I was a successful athlete, but I would also say that a lot of that was being intuitive, being sensitive to frequency and psychically feeling what teammates and opposition were going to do. I could read people, I could read the energy of a room, and I could usually make successful decisions for myself because I could see 5 steps ahead of where I was at all the time. My intuitive channels were pretty open. And then life happened, hardships happened, challenges arose, emotions didn't get processed, doubts and hesitations developed. There were things I didn't want to see, things I didn't want to hear, didn't want to know. And as that life happened, as it does for all of us, energy blocks started forming. And as a result, my intuition slowly started getting blocked. And as the energy blocks of normal life started building up, intuition stopped being totally automatic for me, and I started to live life without it being as strong. And when I went to law school, I started noticing that even though I was making all the right moves and doing all the right things, nothing was really working. My life wasn't working. I was stuck, and I kept doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do, things that logic would dictate would make me successful, instead of letting my intuition guide me toward what was going to actually work for me. So when this stuckness hit a boiling point for me and I couldn't get my life to move forward, thank goodness I was guided to the resources to help me understand how I got there, release my intuitive blocks, and really activate the ability to get back into the flow with life itself so I could psychically feel and read energy again in my everyday default state. So back to my original question before. Why are some people able to clearly see and feel energy and some people are not? How come some people see things coming and others don't? Why do some people just know what they want and how to get there, and others really struggle with that? And you might even be asking, how come I can feel something intuitively sometimes and not other times? How can I be so sharp in many ways and not see things coming in certain areas of my life in other ways? The answer always lies in your energy. It comes down to how expanded your field of energy is, how connected your energy is with the information you're trying to psychically tap into, and how much distortion you have in your own energy field in the form of programming, blocks, stored emotions, and belief systems that might interfere with receiving information correctly and clearly from spirit. The more your energy is blocked, dense, contracted, and less connected with all of that information and energy, the less intuitive experiences you'll have. And the more open, expanded, and light your field of energy is, the more intuitive experiences you'll have because you're connected and in oneness with everything you could possibly want to know. You don't feel separate from any of it. You'll feel connected to it. So you read that energy, you know that information, you see it all because it's right there in you when you're in that expanded state of awareness. So, what's the science? To understand how intuition works, you need a basic understanding of energy and frequency. And many of you who might have found this summit probably already know this information, so I'll keep it brief, but I still need to touch on it for those of you who are new to this world of intuition. Okay, so here's a crash course. Go ahead and look at your hand. Look at your hand. What is making up this hand? You have skin, bones, tissues, and these are all made up of cells, molecules, and subatomic particles. And all of these particles within you that make up you are made up of energy. And all of that energy is vibrating at a certain pace or frequency. So you are made of energy. All parts of you boil down to energy that is vibrating at a certain pace or frequency. And the term frequency refers to the number of times a wave cycle vibrates in a unit of time. And we can measure frequency. Over the years, scientists and researchers have determined how to measure a person's energetic frequency based on a specific scale of vibrations, which we call the scale of consciousness. So a slow moving energy, maybe like grief or shame or guilt, will vibrate slower and lower, making us feel heavy and dense, while a fast moving energy like joy will vibrate higher, making us feel expanded and light. Using kinesiology, researchers have been able to determine that everything, not just your physical body, but everything has an energetic frequency, including your emotions, thoughts, voices, ideas, items, music, places, Everything has a vibration. And when the frequency, the vibration of anything is high, when something vibrates at a fast pace and a high frequency, its energy expands and we can feel our connection and oneness with things outside of our body. And when it vibrates even higher, our energy expands out into the collective and you feel more connection with all that is, with anything in this universe that we want to see, know, feel, or sense. So, how high do you need to vibrate in order to be intuitive? On Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, which measures frequencies with numbers ranging from 0 to 1,000, we find that when you as a person start to enter into the high frequency of 700, you're vibrating so high and your energy is so expanded that your soul no longer experiences the personal self as separate from others. You're out of your ego, unconcerned with your own fate, and your conscious awareness is equally present everywhere. It isn't limited to where your body is. And so this is how spiritual healers like me and like the coaches I train are able to see and know what is happening everywhere. Why we can read a client's energy from across the globe. Why we can feel certain events before they actually happen. It's because we are able to tune ourselves into this frequency where we're connected with everything. We're out of our own patterns, we're out of our own programs, beliefs, and stories, and we move into a vibration where all information is accessible. So if you want to be intuitive 24/7, then you'll want to get to work on clearing your low frequency energy blocks and existing in a higher frequency as your default state. And in the meantime, while you're still in the process of upgrading your energy and you're not quite there in that 700 state by default, just remember you can always kind of bump up, or some people call it crossing over, into that state with the right training and practice. You can always bump up into that state and connect to the oneness, to the light, and move into that higher frequency quickly and on the spot when you need to know something or intuitively see something. So that's what happens when we move up in frequency. On the other hand, when someone's energetic frequency is low, that energy is vibrating so slowly that it contracts, right? You might remember a time when you were stuck in guilt, shame, or grief, and you felt heavy, dense, and disconnected. When we as individuals are in a low frequency overall, our energy is contracted and we're more in the self and less connected and present with everything outside of us and anything we might want to intuitively know. And when our energy isn't expanded and connected to all that information out there, we can't intuitively read it or see it or feel it or know it very easily. In addition to having a low overall frequency, humans can also hold little pockets of low frequency energies when we have old stories or unprocessed emotions that kind of hang out in our field of energy, and they form what we call an energetic block. So it's called a block because it's so dense, it vibrates so slowly that it becomes dense, and it blocks out the source energy, God energy, universal life force, pure consciousness, whatever you call this energy, and the sense of the oneness with everything that it contains from moving through you in the way that it moves through a higher frequency person who feels that oneness and connection with the universe, God, pure consciousness all the time, because of their light density and high frequency. So I'll be talking more about blocks and helping you to clear them in the next video. But that's the basic how for intuition. When we live our life in these higher frequencies, our energy is more expanded and we feel connected and in oneness with all of the information there is to know. We can ask a question and be connected with the answer or with the energy of the answer. And we don't need to be living our entire life at these high frequencies. When I train new intuitive coaches in my intuition mastery and coach training program, I teach them how to bump up into that 700 frequency range in just a few moments so they can read the energy they need to read, or get the information they seek to find, or do a reading with a client. And reaching this 700 range, this high frequency, becomes easier and more of a default state when we as individuals start releasing our old stories, our old beliefs, all of our old human conditioning and programming and models of reality that we've taken on throughout our lifetime. Because once you clear all of your old programming and those distortions and your old blocks, and you process through all those old unfelt emotions, you'll stop projecting them out into the world. When you aren't projecting your own stories onto something and you're bigger than all of your patterns, only then can you get an accurate, intuitive read on the true energy of a person or a situation or something you're trying to see. A question I often hear is, are we born with intuition or can it be learned? I believe human beings are born with intuition. We're born with the ability to sense energy, and that some people maintain their intuitive abilities, because they remain sensitive to frequency. Some people enhance their intuition as they live their life because they practice with it. And sadly, most people lose it. Their intuition starts to get blocked in early childhood because they buy into the model of reality that they're brought up under. They have experiences that make them doubt what they see and sense, and so much more. And sure, some people will be born with a more innate gift of intuition, and that is just due to their sensitivity to frequency. They're born less energetically dense for many reasons, physical, spiritual, all of the different reasons that make them more sensitive to frequency. So yes, some people will be born with an intuitive advantage, but I believe all people have the capacity to clear energy blocks and programming and become less dense as a soul, as a body, and therefore enhance their intuition in this lifetime, no matter where they're starting and how much density they came in with. If you stick around for this entire series, I'll show you all of the ways that you can learn to be intuitive. And I put learn in quotes because really you're just revealing an ability that's already there and learning how to expand your energy. It's more of a process of unlearning and clearing. And so by living this lifetime as a human, we often learn to block intuition. We learn not to trust it. We shut it down. So my goal in this series is to teach you how to unlearn all of that so you can naturally reveal the intuition that I believe you came in with. Once you start activating your intuitive channels and getting acquainted with how intuition works, one of the first things that will happen is you'll start to feel some of the resistance you have to psychically feeling, seeing, knowing, and hearing information that's trying to get through to you. You'll bump up against the blocks you've taken on, and you'll experience a little bit of difficulty in receiving information clearly. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how these blocks show up, why they show up, and how you can start the process of releasing them so you can become a person who just knows things and can intuitively see information with total ease and clarity. So be sure to check out video number 2 in this series because it's going to have that really helpful information and you won't want to miss it. And thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me that you're curious to learn the ins and outs of intuition. The study and mastery of using my intuition is something that has deeply enhanced my own ability to navigate my life with ease and help others to do so. It's helped me create a reality I love, and I know it's impacted the careers, relationships, and lives of many of my students. So if you know somebody else who might benefit from this free training series, be sure to share this video with them. And I will see you in video number 2, where we'll dive into some of the ways that your intuition can get blocked and what you can do to clear those blocks. All right, I'll see you there.